and welcome to the Good Poets Gaming Podcast. This is episode 4 of season 4. I want to say this is like the 35th episode or something silly now, which is a bit insane. But me and Poetic are joined by Scorpio. So, Scorpio, introduce yourself a little bit, tell people who you are and what you're about.
Yeah, sure. So my name is Benjamin, and I run a tech YouTube channel called ScorpioTech, which is where most people would know me from, which is over 100,000 subscribers now, which I still can't believe myself.
It's
But I
mental.
also, it really is. It's never really sunk in, to be honest with you. But I also have a couple of like gaming channels where I like posting some clips and just funny things that happen with friends. But yeah, you can find me on
Wicked.
all socials with ScorpioTech, and yeah, that's pretty much what I'm known for.
Amazing. So, what was the kind of the first thing of like, why did you want to go down the tech route? And like, was that before gaming or was that after gaming?
Very good question. So I started out on YouTube as a gaming channel. I was called Scorpio Gaming for quite a long time. I was
Mhm.
posting gaming videos, typically just things with friends and just whatever. There was not really any kind of plan or goal. And over time, I just started getting things for like birthdays, like maybe a controller, and I would
Yeah,
unbox that and make a video on it. And suddenly I'm like, this video has 50 views and my other gaming videos have 5. So I was like,
yeah,
okay, I'll start doing a few more of these and just see what happens. I was working full time at the time, so I never really thought anything of it, and that's just sort of see what happens. Obviously, it's nice to lean into things that are doing well for you. So I decided to do more of those, and then over time, they really started ramping up. And then I dropped
mm.
my first setup tour video, and that's when things started going a bit wild. So
I mean,
that's
I'm
that's
I'm look. Sorry to cut you off, but I'm looking in the
that's okay.
background and I see all the lights and everything,
Yeah,
and I'm like, I need to upgrade whatever's going on
yeah,
behind
same,
me.
Oh, thank you. That's
same.
very kind. Um, but that's what eventually sort of pushed me completely away from not completely away from gaming, but in terms of a focus of the channel.
Mm,
So at that point, I gained a lot of subscribers, and it's because those people are there to see tech. Then I rebranded to Scorpio Tech on YouTube, and then pretty much focused on that. And then over time, I was obviously investing my own money into buy products to review.
Yeah,
Um, and then as time went on, I started getting emails. And at the time, I was accepting absolutely everything, the
yeah.
most random products. I'm just like, this is, you're sending that to me for free. I get to keep it and make a video. At the time, I just couldn't believe what was happening. Obviously, since then, it's changed a lot, and I've been able to earn quite a good amount of money from it now,
Yeah,
which I'm really thankful for. It's, I'm really lucky to be in that position. Um, but the important thing for me is that I didn't drop the gaming side. I just sort of pushed it to another channel because that is a
yeah,
huge passion of mine as well. And I didn't want to
yeah,
just sort of bury it. And, um, it's a big hobby. So I didn't want to just, um, I guess, just let it die as
yeah.
part of the channel because that's who I am. And gaming is still, to this day, a very big part of my life. And the main reason why I got into YouTube in the first place.
Nice. I like it.
wicked, wicked. So you briefly mentioned that you had a full-time job. Do you
Yeah.
still have a full-time job, or
No, I
is this what
actually
you're doing
I
full-time?
did. Yeah, no, I went full time on this now. Over the years, I've built up a really good list of contacts, and I can earn a good amount of money from doing ads. I don't necessarily love pumping ads into everything, but it's also
Yeah,
a natural part of being, a creator. You have to balance that out.
Yeah, of
So,
course.
I do my paid work, and then I do my own work as well. One thing I do want to improve on is sort of like the balance of that. I know a
yeah,
lot of it sometimes tends to look quite ad heavy, but it's very difficult to not accept these offers when they come along because at the end of the day, that's what's important. Not as an overall thing, but in terms of a job, you need to support yourself.
yeah.
Oh yeah,
Exactly, of course.
Um,
100%.
yeah. But as a goal for myself, I have wanted to sort of change that balance so I'm more posting my own content, and I've been trying to do that more recently. Um, Coming up with ideas is quite difficult for me, especially I don't like copying people or necessarily jumping on trends all the time.
Mm.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so it has over the last few years become a full-time thing. So that's
Oh,
something again
that's
I'm very
that's
thankful
amazing,
for.
man.
Yeah,
It is, although
Con
it's extremely stressful.
Yeah,
yeah.
I can
Yeah,
imagine.
I can
But you're
imagine.
you're literally
yeah.
living at well, I can't. Well, I'm going to speak for Dan here as well. But you're literally living our dream, mate.
Yeah, no,
So
I'm
Yeah,
very lucky, and as I mentioned to you before the podcast started, my girlfriend lives in Finland, and being
yeah,
able to do this, um, as a full-time job for myself allows me to have that time to go and visit her for longer periods of time,
yeah.
which is really important to me as well. Um, so having that balance and being able to work when I want is fantastic, but then
Mm.
the downside of that is that the work technically never ends. every
Yeah.
email,
Yeah.
every notification.
Yeah.
It's full on. So it is very important to take care of the like mental health side of things as well.
And
Yeah, no, of course.
how do you kind of like balance that? Because like even for like myself, like obviously me and Poetic are, you know, not at the level and the followers that you have and as such, but we're trying to, you know, we got the podcast, we both stream, we both do shorts, we both do YouTube, like we've got our hands
Yeah.
in a few pies and things like that. And trying to get that out, especially having a full-time job as well, can be quite tricky.
Oh
So
yeah.
for anyone kind of, I suppose, listening to the podcast and just kind of start, and what would you say are like the things to look out for to maybe avoid burnout and things like that?
Yeah, so at the start, I was actually transitioning from I was full time and trying to do this at the same time, and I admit I was struggling. It was a lot. It's like I got home at 6 by the time you've eaten, showered 7, maybe even after that, and then it's like how am I going to fit a whole YouTube video, especially when I started getting paid work and they demand deadlines.
Yeah,
It is a lot. So I think it's really
Yeah.
important to um as much as it might be tempting to just like chase that like the money or whatever all the
yeah,
time, it's like you've really got to be sensible with it. Those things can happen with time. You can build your following and things fit into your life naturally and things sort of move around. But I think the issue sort of arises when you try and force your way to success, if that makes
yeah,
sense, or just
Yeah.
yeah. There's a lot of people I know that have started and they're going quite well, but they started posting 2 videos almost a day, and it's like, okay, for the first month, great, yeah, and they're building up a nice following, but after sort of the first month, 2 videos a day is becoming a real mental chore for them,
yeah.
Yeah.
and people really start burning out. So I think it's really important to try and pace yourself. Setting a schedule, I would say, is probably the best thing you can do.
Mm,
If just and I think almost lowering your expectations of yourself in terms of what you can output. Don't overestimate. I think it's better to sort of overachieve that than underachieve, and then you start feeling bad about not
yeah,
hitting your targets.
Yeah.
So, for example, instead of saying I'm going to make 4 short form videos and 2 YouTube videos this week, maybe I'll do 1 YouTube video and 2 short form videos. Suddenly, that's like half the work.
yeah,
And if you feel like making more, that's fine, but you've still put out a good amount of content.
yeah,
And I also think putting more time into a less amount of content is important, which is what I've sort of leaned towards myself as well. So, whilst I don't post even every week at this point, um, I think it's important to put a lot of time and care into what you do make and thought and
yeah,
make sure it's the best version of what you want to make, really.
yeah. Quality over quantity.
I think so.
Yeah,
That's what I
Yeah.
would say. Yeah.
yeah.
Um,
Just on that. Sorry, Poetic, you go.
no, I was just gonna say out here taking notes.
Yeah, yeah. Just on that, obviously, I don't know whether you know Scorpio, but I'm expecting a child
Yes. Yeah.
in
Yes.
October.
Yeah. Congrats. Yeah.
So that really like hit with me. Thank you, by the way. That really hit with me that, you know, pacing yourself, because obviously I know for like the first couple of months, if I can't get videos out, like I love my community to death, but for
Yeah.
the, you know, I don't really care. If I can't get videos out, like my baby and my fiance come first. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
the thing that I've kind of said to myself is, out of all the stuff that I do content wise, the things that are going to remain as much as possible are the streams and the podcast. And that's
Yeah.
mainly because they have the least amount of editing.
Yeah.
Streams,
Understandable. Yeah.
streams, there's no editing unless I want to clip it into a YouTube video, which I don't have to do. And then the podcast, it's literally I edit out the start and I edit out the finish. Oh, sorry. Um, you can see the levels of professionalism between you and me here. I'm bashing my mic around and all sorts. But yeah, I
Here's me
think.
thinking.
Go on.
Here's
Go
me
on for it.
thinking that that the reason why you'd keep the podcast was because I came second. But you know, fair enough.
No, no, not at all. You're always first in my eyes, but oh dear. Very quickly, and I don't even know this because, like, obviously, like you and me have been in contact for a little while, and like you're
Yeah.
in my Discord and things like that. but it's been very like conversational. We haven't spoken great depth about anything
No.
for no real reason. We just haven't.
Yeah.
So I don't actually know the answer to this. Why the name Scorpio?
Very good question. So there's a bunch of reasons. Star sign is the obvious one, but then again, I'm not into star signs at all.
Oh
But I am a
right.
Scorpio.
Oh,
So
okay.
that was kind of the initial thought. But then there's a few other things. I think scorpions are really cool in general. I've always thought
Yeah.
it's just they just don't look like they belong on Earth to me. It's great. It
Yeah,
looks like
they
straight out
do
of
look like
some
aliens, don't they?
alien.
To be
Yeah,
fair.
it's brilliant. Yeah. And then also Scorpion from Mortal Kombat is one of my favorite like characters anyway.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it's like the trio of things just came together. I was like, you know what, that's a name I'll settle on.
Yeah,
But I've
I
had that
like it.
name now for I think maybe 15 years.
Nice.
It's been with me for a while.
Nice. Would you ever
Yeah.
change it?
I have had times where I've thought about it, but I don't think so now. I think
No.
it fits. I've got my tech side, ScorpioTech and Simple, and I've got Scorpio Quest, which is where I focus my gaming things.
Yeah.
And that's kind
Yeah.
of like where I've landed in terms of as long as those names are available on the platforms, those are the ones I would choose.
Yeah.
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 Fair enough. I mean, yours seems to have a lot of meaning. I chose my name because it was hashtagable. That was
Yeah, no, it's
that was
good. It's
literally
good.
the reason.
It's good and memorable. Like as I said just before the podcast, I was listening to your other episodes whilst I was on vacation, and I was walking. And I was thinking, what was the podcast called? And it just came straight to me because the name is
Yeah.
memorable. It's a good name.
GPGP.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
brilliant.
Yeah.
It's good.
Nice.
Thank you. You briefly touched upon this, but are you able to go in a bit more detail on what like your creative process looks like day
Yeah,
to
for
day?
sure. Yeah. So in terms of what a typical video would be, let's take I do a lot of keyboard reviews.
Yeah.
So that process would be email communication with whoever. If this is going to be a review, sometimes they will be paid, sometimes not, and I treat everything the same. The one thing I always say is all thoughts and opinions will be my own because I think
Yeah.
that's so important in a review. I mean, what's the point watching a review when someone's just reading a script for the company?
Yeah.
So I make sure the company knows that. So that's the first step. So I've got the communication stage, and then if there's contracts and things involved, then that gets sorted first. Product arrives with me, and then I set myself some time aside to get the filming done. In terms of filming, so this obviously this is like in-person filming. Set my camera up with a top-down view,
Yeah.
get the actual things done. I make a list on a notepad, write it down old-fashioned style. Even though I've got many means of doing it, I don't know, something about writing things down is really nice
Yeah,
for
no,
me.
I
Yeah, I'm
fully
with you on that.
understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I write down shots that I need in terms of clips I need for the video and things I need to focus on. Because that's one thing that I will allow a company to decide is that if they've got features they would like me to focus on, then sure, I will,
Yeah.
spend
Yeah.
some extra time on those features to make sure I get the point across. So yeah, get the filming done. Then of course everything will go into my editing software. Editing for me is a very slow process. I don't know how people do it so fast. I wish I could do it more quickly, but it can take a week for me to get a 10-minute video done, like really as I
Oh,
want
wow.
it to. So
Yeah.
that's in terms of getting all the clips together, writing my script, and doing the voiceover, as well as giving myself proper time to test the keyboard in this scenario. Because I think
Yeah.
that's something people don't realize as well. You see this person's received the keyboard and they're reviewing it, but most I say most, I think a lot of other people who put those videos out aren't actually testing them.
Yeah.
And it's not
Yeah.
fair. It's not fair to give a proper review on something without having time to spend time actually using it. Like for example, I would use this keyboard even if I don't like it that much for gaming. I would test it for a week or something, playing games and just using it for work and actually real life scenarios for it.
Yeah.
Because I think it's important to get that proper insight into how this product works.
Of course.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so that's basically part of the creative process for a long form thing. Short form, sometimes videos just come to me in terms of ideas. I might see someone else and think, oh, I could do that with this thing, for example.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then other times, recently I picked up a PlayStation 3, my first ever PS3.
Yeah, I saw
And I was
that.
like,
Yeah.
and I was like, you know what, I'm going to make a video on this, and I'm really happy with how that's done. And the views
Yeah.
might not be crazy, but in terms of engagement, people suggesting games, and it's fun. I really like the engagement side of things, chatting with people and hearing opinions. That's the best part about it for me.
Yeah.
So
What-
yeah,
what-
that's probably the two sides.
That's amazing. It's good insight actually, because the thing that like I think that the stereotype is once you get kind of successful, a lot of people can lose that kind of like thing of, oh, these are people talking to
Yeah.
me, and like I
Yeah.
think a
Mm.
lot of people can kind of look and go, oh, I had 2,000 views today, and or I had 50,000 views, or whatever the number might be. But one thing that you probably heard this a billion times because you've listened to the podcast, but one thing that we
Yeah.
always say is if you got 50,000 views and 2 likes and 1 comment, I'd rather have a video with 200 views and
Yeah.
50 likes and 15
Absolutely.
comments
Yeah.
because
Absolutely.
it shows that. Because if you put 50,000 views and you get 1 like on it, in my
Yeah.
I know that would never happen, but in my head that means that 49,999 people didn't like it.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, because the
So
actual criteria to count as a view is not much. They don't
Not
have
no,
to
bad.
be there long for it to be a view.
no,
Yeah.
It's So yeah, the things that matter. If someone's actively watching it and presses to comment, that's or actually interacts with it in any way, even likes, that's
mm,
an action that they've made because of your content. It's easy to view something, but it does take extra steps to
Yeah.
like is also kind of easy, but comment is like they're going out of their way
oh
Yeah.
yeah,
to interact with you,
Absolutely.
which, like you said, it's a lot more valuable, I think,
hundred
Yeah.
than
percent, hundred
views.
percent.
I've got a question. Um, so just looking at your content, right? If you were to
Mhm.
strip everything away, so like all like your logo and everything, it's very clearly your content. Like you've got a
Okay,
very unique style. And how
interesting.
did you cultivate that? Because it's awesome. It reminds me of I don't know if you know him. Well, you not personally, but
Yeah.
Spawn
Yeah, I've
Point.
spoken to him a few
Yeah,
times. Yes, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so he's also got a very unique style to his videos.
Right.
But how did you cultivate that style and how do you maintain that style so consistently?
Okay, I actually have kind of maybe a funny answer to this.
Okay.
okay,
So I'm in the tech world, right? And my job
yeah,
Yeah.
is essentially tech focused, but I do not watch any other tech videos at all. So
Okay.
so I get no inspiration from other people,
Yeah.
and I feel that allows me to, I know as strange as it sounds, it allows me to just remain as I am with my things and not,
yeah,
because I think you can watch other people and start integrating their ideas, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but integrating their ideas into your content, and it can end up feeling like a lot of the content you see is the same, and
Yeah.
you see sort of, if you see people in a niche, and that, you've probably seen on there that there's the CEX um TikTokers and stuff, the people that go in,
Yeah.
and a
yeah,
lot of that content, I've got no shade on them. I think the videos are great, but they can start feeling quite similar because the
Yeah.
style is very. They
mm,
they will go in the shop, they'll point their phone at the games, pick up games, and carry on, which is it's completely fine. But in terms of tech for me and being unique, it's nice to hear that, by the way, because I haven't actually had that comment before, but it's nice that you think
that
that about your
surprises
content.
me.
Yeah.
That
Okay.
yeah, same.
Yeah,
All right. Well, yeah. Well, thank you. Um, but I think taking that step back and not sort of spending my life in that circle allows me to sort of stay as I am and keep my opinions and my videos how I want them to be. Because I think it's
hmm
important to make content that you would like to watch or that you're happy with.
Yeah, of
And
course.
as I said, my editing process and everything might be a little bit slow, and that might come at a cost because I don't see what other people are doing sometimes.
mm,
But for myself, it does allow me to sort of, I guess, stay in my lane in terms of what content I produce, and it keeps like a consistent theme. And it's nice to know that if you even see the first frame of my video or something, that people know it's going to be from me or hear my
Yeah.
yeah,
voice in that kind of style. Yeah.
yeah. What one thing that like that kind of we talked about kind of like the name for the podcast and starting the podcast before a little bit, but one thing that kind of drew me to asking Poetic to start this podcast is he was very like, and I mean this in the nice way possible, the same layout every single time. And literally, there was a period where you could scroll through Poetic's videos and it was gamers, gamers, game like but he started it with that like the
Yeah.
same tone, everything, and I feel like having that instant thing that like, oh, this is
Mm.
such and such, without even having to look at the screen. Because like, if I'm just scrolling and I'm doing whatever, if I know that that's Poetic, I'll stay on it. and same with
Yeah.
your videos.
Do
Okay.
you want to know something funny about that, right?
Go on.
Like, this is not, I haven't made it or anything here, but um, I walked into my mum's house one time, and she literally turned to me, looked me square in her eyes, and just went, "Gamers," and I was like, like, the fact that my mum just like
That's how you know
knows
I've
it, I was
made
like,
it,
"Yeah,
man.
no, I've made it. I've made it."
Yeah.
Oh,
Catchphrase
Oh,
locked in. Yeah.
yeah.
that's class.
Yeah,
Um,
brilliant.
so the question I've got is, what is the most kind of pinch yourself moment that you've had, kind of content wise so far?
That's a good question. I've had a few, to be honest with you.
Hmm.
But I suppose the answer would be I've had sort of two times where I've gone, I would say, viral. And
Yeah.
those times, I think you mentioned it in one of your previous podcasts, when you like refresh the page and it's 99 new notifications again.
Yeah.
And it's just like, this is ridiculous. And you keep doing it. And it's just like an addiction of like, how is it still 99?
Yeah.
And it's like getting pushed out. I had one TikTok, I think, that ended up at 7 million views, which is where most of
Wow.
my
Bloody
TikTok
hell.
followers came from. It was insane. And it was for days, just like refresh 99. And it was constant. Um, Obviously, those kind of videos, I think you've also mentioned in a previous podcast, it always seems to be the videos that you put the least effort into. So I
Yeah.
never know
Yeah.
how to feel about that.
Yeah.
In terms of a creator, it's like, okay, here's a video I've spent 2 weeks making, a few thousand views, fantastic. Here's a video that took me 10 minutes, like from idea to posting, and then
Yeah.
that's the one that gets 7 million.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, it brings in followers, and there's a potential that those followers can then, see your other content. So it's not a bad thing at all. I'm
No.
obviously very grateful for it. But that was kind of surreal. In terms of like the bigger pinch myself moment, in terms of like developing from being just making gaming videos to some tech to ending up being full time,
Yeah.
it was just sort of being paid and companies reaching out to me because of seeing my content and wanting to pay me to show their product.
Yeah.
That's just the concept of that. If I told teenage self,
Yeah.
I just there's
Yeah.
no chance I would believe it. It's insane. I mean, I always wanted to do this.
Yeah.
Maybe it was gaming when I was in my teens. Maybe I wanted to be a gaming YouTuber. Um, but that sort of changed naturally over time. I love what I do in terms of tech now as well, but the original dream was gaming, as with a lot of people.
Yeah. I
um,
mean that's for me personally.
Likewise.
yeah,
But
I would still love it.
on the other hand, if obviously this is a gaming podcast, but if it became a thing of like, me and Poetic did events and we, were at expos and, the pie in the sky, Gamescom and things like that,
Yeah,
I'm not going to say no. You know
yeah,
what I
Yeah,
mean?
of
exactly,
course.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Like, and it, like, even because like there's different levels to success, isn't there? And like for me personally, I haven't made a lot of money from like doing this and stuff like that. But I've made, coming up to probably £100 just from streaming,
yeah,
which I'm a
That's
bit
really
like, you know, if you told me 4 years ago before I even started this, oh, you will get paid for playing games. It'll only be a bit, but you'll get paid. I'd be like,
yeah,
nah, you're having me on.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
like I you probably hear me say this, but I always say like if Good Game Dan like crumble tomorrow, the whole brand, like touch wood it doesn't, but say I got
yeah,
hacked or what have you,
yeah.
I'd be like, yeah, I'm happy. I've had a blooming good run and I've enjoyed what I've done. So I start again, obviously, but
yeah.
you get the sentiment.
Yeah, I know what you mean. You've achieved something with this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I think
Yeah.
that's important to reflect on your own content as well. And I think taking that time to look back on what you've done. I think one thing that always surprises me is sometimes I feel like my content doesn't improve. I have a formula, I stick to my formula, and your content doesn't improve. But if you go back a year and look at your previous content, you're just like, what was I doing?
yeah,
Really? What is that?
Yeah.
And then go back even more, and you do grow, even if you don't realize it. You do grow and you change and you improve your content,
yeah,
and it's really nice to see that journey. So I think in terms of a little tip to give to people who are also on the same journey or have the same dream, it's important to like take a look back at how you've grown, not
yeah.
necessarily always just look forward and chase money. I think that people really shouldn't chase money or go into this chasing money.
No,
It's it's the first bit of advice I give to anyone that says, I want to be a creator as well. It's like, please don't go into it for the money. I
No.
never did. I never started this for money. It just sort of happened, which is I am not going to complain. I love
Yeah.
it. I'm very thankful to be in the situation. But
100%.
people going into it for that goal, they're very unlikely to succeed because you need to have the passion has to come first before
Yeah.
anything else. Yeah.
Yeah. I think like it's a nice added bonus, isn't it? It's like
Yeah.
because like I feel like we're at the point where like this podcast has been going on long enough that we'll email people or we'll reach out to people, but like we're not afraid to reach out to people who are like mega mega mega
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
and their kind of level of success, and we're not doing it to kind of like, oh, you come here and we'll get loads of followers, we'll make loads
Yeah,
of money.
right.
It's
Yeah.
that's the point I'm trying to get across. But we're doing it to have that interesting conversation, and
Yeah.
if we get a sponsorship or we get followers from that guest being on, great. But it's
Yeah.
not the be all and end all of the reason why we're doing it, And I think
Yeah.
that's a good point that you're making. That like it's great to get money and it's great to get the followers and everything, but enjoy it first.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna move on to guest specialist questions a little bit now.
Okay.
And me and Poetic, we have a big list of questions, and we're just going to kind of pick a few that you may have not really answered yet, and we'll just
Okay.
kind of
Interesting.
see what you think of them. So, Poetic, if you want to start.
Yeah, sure. So you briefly mentioned that like essentially you're juggling a lot of things, right? And you're trying to find a balance. How do you actually find the time to just play games for fun?
Yeah. So in terms of the freedom I have with it being in control of my own schedule completely,
Yeah.
I still amazingly try and stick to a typical 9 to 5 day in terms of
Okay.
like
Nice.
that's my work time. Because I
Yeah.
think if you don't set yourself a time where you stop, especially in this case when I'm here and working in this room, and this is also where I game because it's the
Yeah.
same room. I don't have a separate office room, so separating it specifically is really important. So for me, that usually looks like I will finish work at this time, go for a walk, have a shower, something, just something to split that up.
Yeah.
If I go from one to the other, it feels like it never ends.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that's really important. In terms of finding time to game, because I give myself that time, evenings usually work out. Um, but again, it's difficult. It depends on what the schedule looks like, and deadlines can also affect that. I really try to stick to it, but sometimes life gets in the way and you can't do things when you
Yeah.
want.
Yeah.
um, but yeah, typically because of my schedule for that, I will have time to play games in the evenings, and as I said earlier, gaming is a huge part of my life, so I don't wanna don't wanna miss out on that.
Yeah. Of course.
Yeah.
Nice. So if you probably haven't guessed, I'm not a tech person at all. Like this microphone, it's a very bog standard microphone, but this was like gifted to me. My camera was gifted to me. Like I know
Okay.
very little. I'm more like software.
Mhm.
But if you had to kind of like give the average gamer some recommendations for where they should actually spend their money for like hardware, the keyboard, the laptops, the gaming PCs, is there somewhere that you would like go, yes, go and get this brand of thing, I guess.
Yeah, so first and foremost, the first bit of advice I give to people when they're looking at improving a setup or gaming space is please go for something practical, not something that looks great.
Yeah.
My setup
Okay.
right now, it's like for me, this is the most practical way it could possibly be. I have my main monitor, is that really nice main monitor. Then I have a smaller monitor underneath, PC and speakers. It's fairly simple, really. The actual setup is very simple, and it
Yeah.
works perfectly for my work life, and it works perfectly for gaming. Like there's literally nothing that's like a bit annoying. Like, oh, that's in the way. I feel a lot of the people I speak to, they're trying to chase these like triple monitor setups. You've got two verticals on the side and one
Yeah.
horizontal in the middle, and they want all of the fancy lights and stuff. But it's great to decorate, but I would highly recommend focusing on the practical side of it first. Make something that's, because you can see these people spending so much money on like nano leaf panels or lighting. I mean, I know I have those, but that's like an afterthought. So it's
Yeah.
Yeah.
there's a lot of people who are putting money into things that really don't help the setup actually be practical and useful for like everyday use cases.
Mm.
In terms of advice for um, where to spend that money, it's quite a difficult question because
Yeah.
there's a lot of places you can go. Um, but probably the biggest thing is avoid the main brands that you hear about.
Mm.
I'm not
Ooh.
going to name
Yeah,
specific
of
names,
course.
Yeah,
but
of
it's
Yeah.
course.
like
Yeah.
typically big brands. It's the same with cars, right?
Mm.
You can, if you put a certain logo on a certain car, that car's value is 3 times more than it would be if you put a Peugeot logo on
Yeah.
or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
It's basically the same scenario. Clothing has the exact same thing.
Hmm.
Have a t-shirt,
Yeah.
plain t-shirt. As soon as you put a logo on it, it's it's 10 times the price for some reason.
Yeah.
Um,
It's crazy.
so same thing worked with tech. And whilst everything does have a brand, you can go to brands that aren't pushing out expensive products just because of their name.
Mm.
So especially in the keyboard side of things, there's a lot of companies. I mean, um, Acco is one off the top of my head. I've worked with them a lot. They don't sort of shout about their name, and the keyboards are really reasonably priced for what you get.
Yeah.
You're looking at spending probably 50% more if those same keyboards were from um, other companies. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
yeah,
makes sense.
No, that's fair. I actually very recently realized that are they called tenless keyboards?
yeah.
Or a thing
10 keyless. Yeah,
10 keyless,
about this.
that's all.
Yeah, about the actual like size of them. Is that what you're
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
about?
So
Yeah,
I never knew that that was a thing, and because I've got like two monitor setup, but I've got my main monitor, which is just a TV. It's like
yeah,
a Bush TV that I've used for years, and then
mhm,
I've got my actual like gaming laptop, but that's on like a stand. So
yeah,
it really hurt my wrist to like have it there. So I thought I'll get a little keyboard, but I didn't want it all over my desk. So
yeah.
I actually went to Gemini to like tell me what the best kind of
Okay.
like keyboards were. And I thought of this question off the top of my head. Have you ever done that with like tech? Have you ever gone to AI to do? I suppose you probably know a bit more than me and don't need to do that.
Yeah,
But
yeah. I would like to say as a creator in that space, I typically wouldn't rely on AI because
no,
I mean the AI is basing that off a lot of other information that's not
yeah,
necessarily the most relevant. I'm not saying it's the worst thing to do. Don't get me
yeah,
wrong. I've used AI for a lot of like little tips and tricks and
oh yeah,
helpful of troubleshooting and all sorts. Um, but yeah, I think yeah, I mean, I guess it works. It works for like finding out things like that. And as you said, if it's something you didn't know about, and if that's like you said,
mm,
not too into the tech side of things, then I think it's perfectly fine to learn and
yeah.
find out about that. And to be honest, it's given you. Did you actually get a 10 keyless keyboard now? So you've got a
Yes,
small. Yeah,
I've got one here. It's slightly mechanical. I think it was
yeah,
20 quid, but it
yeah. But
does it does
yeah,
the job. You know.
it's practical, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah, yeah, that's
that's the
it.
important thing. If you need to change things in the future for other reasons, then that's fine. But right
Hmm.
now, your setup works for you and it's practical.
That's
So
it.
that's what comes first. Yeah.
That's it. Like I'm sure you were the same. Like I started with like a £10 microphone, and then as things
Yeah.
got a little bit better, and videos started doing a bit better, I thought let's increase and get a slightly better microphone, and then I asked for one with a boom, that I can move about, and
Yeah.
you slowly upgrade it, don't you?
Yeah, I think it's the sensible way to do it
Mm,
instead of throwing yourself in the deep end and trying to buy all the most expensive things you can find at the same
yeah.
time. I highly recommend not to do that.
Yeah, I very nearly did, and then I
Yeah.
held back just because it looked pretty.
Yeah. Yeah.
Talking about not spending extortionate amounts of money on your setup, if you only had £50, what's the
Ooh,
one thing you would recommend to get for your setup that would just elevate it?
Ooh,
that's a really good question. £50 is tough. Fifty
Yeah, I
pounds is
know.
yeah.
a very tough amount. I'm
There or
assuming you've already got.
thereabouts.
Yeah, okay. Well, my favorite is actually this keyboard I have now. I will show you if that's fine. I
Yeah,
will also
yeah, of
explain
course.
for the podcast if people are only listening. This keyboard is
That's a nice keyboard.
yeah, it's Nufi Halo 65. It's got Hall effect switches, so they're like for how to explain that in gaming terms. They
You don't
basically
get stick
have
drift.
no stick drift. They basically use magnetic switches, right? So
Yeah.
in terms of like having a point where it presses down and that's when it starts, magnetic basically you can change at which point the key counts as being pressed. So you can
Oh
if you
wow.
Oh
press it a
wow.
tiny bit, you can have it as being pressed, which is like really good for rapid response times in games and things.
Yeah.
Or you can have you can customize it a lot basically. I think this keyboard was like 70 or 80 pounds, so it's a little bit over your budget, but I will not change this, and I go through a lot of keyboards and I love this
Yeah.
keyboard.
Yeah.
So yeah, that would be the one I'd suggest. Other things in terms of like how things look, a really nice desk pad is always great, and those you can get for well under 50.
Yeah.
Even from I actually tried one from AliExpress not long ago, and I was really surprised with how good it was. It was like £6, and including delivery, I was like, "There's no way." If it arrives at all, I've got no idea, but it was actually really good. Although I think it's pretty hit and miss on there, so
Yeah,
I
of
would be
course.
wary. um,
Uh,
the last thing is also I have this monitor bar light which sits on top of my monitor, which lights
Yeah.
up the desk. Which, in terms for me and working on my desk, and if you're doing anything practical, it's really useful.
Mm.
So they're just called screen bars, and you can definitely get cheaper ones than the one I have. But they just have a little switch you turn on, and it lights up the desk nicely, which it looks great for recording any content, and just keeps it nice and bright as well, especially if you're doing any, as I said, practical work or tinkering.
Nice.
Nice. Do you ever kind of like look at your setup and kind of take a little step back and go, "Wow," like
Yeah.
because that'd be me every single day.
To be fair, that happened this year. For the first time in 6 years, I built a new computer, like
Yeah.
as high end as I need. Obviously,
Yeah.
you can always go more, but this is
Yeah.
like this is it's overkill
Yeah, it's
essentially.
pretty
But
good.
I would also argue that I need it in my case because the video
Yeah.
editing side of things, and also for rendering and gaming at like at the
Mm.
highest level I can. You know, I have a 4K monitor as well. It's not easy to play games at 4K, as you probably
Yes.
know.
Yeah.
So yeah, as I got back from vacation, I built it just before I went away. So I was away for 6 weeks, and I came back into my room. It's like, wait, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
yeah, I do. I definitely still have those moments. Yeah.
Nice. So what's your kind of take on like obviously I have quite I don't know how high end it is, but it does the job for me. I've got a gaming laptop
hmm
and kind of like handhelds and things like that. Do you feel like they are getting anywhere near a traditional like PC, like a desktop PC, or do you think it will never get there at all with the two?
It's a really good question. I would never say never because you don't
Mm,
know how tech will develop. But in terms of right now, they're not close in terms of how the performance matches up.
yeah,
Which for good reason, essentially. If you think right now, the graphics card in mine is about this big, right? So
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm saying like 20 centimeters for the people who are listening. Maybe even more for some GPUs. I think that was actually like 30 centimeters, to be honest. um, and you think about a size of a laptop. So you've got to think, how am I going to get that graphics card into that laptop?
yeah,
And the thing is, they put the same chip into the laptops, but there's no way of cooling it to the same extent just
yeah,
Yeah.
because of how they're built. So obviously, once you've got those specs like a graphics card inside a laptop, it just can't be cooled in the same way.
yeah.
So they basically have to lower its overall performance, otherwise it would
Mm,
just keep overheating constantly. So in
Yeah.
terms of that side of things, it's not really very close, but they can be great. I take my gaming laptop away with me, and I love it for what it is. It still does everything I want it to, and I've
yeah,
got no shade for gaming laptops because the thing you get, which you can't do with a PC, is put it in your backpack and take it with you somewhere.
yeah,
I think I made a video about that once. It's like, I had so many people saying, "Oh, just get a gaming PC." When I was doing a video about a laptop, it's like, how are you missing the point so badly? It's like
yeah,
you can't put your gaming PC in your backpack or just take it and get it out on a train or a plane, or if you go like away for a week or something. But gaming laptops, just throw it in your backpack and you're away. And sure, they might need to be plugged in to get the most out of them, but that's most of the time you have that available. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
yeah.
I feel like I'm one of very few people that doesn't have, well, probably not actually thinking about it, but I don't have like a desktop PC.
Hmm.
But I know that the price point of this gaming laptop compared to what I would have to pay to get a PC to do what I needed to do with the streaming and the editing and the rendering and all that stuff, it's not worth me getting one as of right now.
Mm.
Maybe if, hopefully in a few years' time, I'll be, in a position where I'm like, do you know what? I'm going to spend a bit of money and get a decent PC. But if you don't need to, I would
Yeah, I mean,
think
it comes back
it's,
to what's actually practical and necessary for you in
yeah,
terms of like
100%.
managing
Yeah.
what you need to spend money on. Because I think a lot of people that come into this, especially in the tech space, they think they have to go and spend money on the most expensive things and the fanciest things to stand out, and it's just not true.
No,
The
no.
content, the people like you for who you are and how you display your content, and how engaging you are and how you talk about your content.
Yeah,
It's not for how flashy the stuff you have is. Sure, they might get some
Yeah.
likes, but that's not, as we spoke about earlier, that's not necessarily what's valuable in terms of that output.
yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Should we
Um.
do one more each, Poetic, on this
Yeah.
section?
Sure. I. Well, you briefly touched on it, I guess, but in terms of like the laptop versus desktop debate, like there is now a heavy reliance on like AI versus just the raw brute force of a 5090. Um, do you feel that we will eventually get to a point where the AI upscaling, so the DLSS or the FSRs of this world, are just so good that we now get graphics cards that are essentially like 2080s, but they're outputting at 4K, 120 hertz?
It's a really good question. Um, first of all, I'll put my standpoint on AI. I'm not the big fan of generative AI in terms of like
Yeah, of course.
games and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
So
Mm.
I make sure my point's clear on that. However, for things in tech and for things that actually like drive technology forwards, in terms of right now, sure, the graphics cards haven't really developed much in terms of raw power for quite a long time. But I've used frame generation, which is the AI frames between the normal frames,
Yeah,
and it's incredible, really. Especially as I said, I play on a 4K monitor, and it's 240 hertz, and there's no way a PC without having frame generation, especially on modern games, demanding
yeah.
games, you're not getting anywhere near 240 hertz on a 4K monitor. It just wouldn't happen.
No.
Um, but thanks to frame generation, it just makes everything feel so much smoother, and I can't complain about that. I mean, in terms that's not a harmful type of AI, in my
Yeah,
opinion. It's just helping.
Yeah,
I don't know if there is much room for them to improve the raw output. I assume at some point there will be, but there hasn't been much movement on that in quite some time. So that's, I guess, why they've been leaning more into the AI side of things. But if it
yeah,
helps, it helps. And to be honest with you, I think that's completely fine. Uh, in terms of your question, I think we could technically start seeing more. It would be nice to. It doesn't seem to go this way, but it would be nice to see some more affordable graphics cards come out with that
yeah.
technology,
Absolutely.
because it's just everything just seems to go up and up. Every new generation of things, it's like everything jumps up by at least 50 or £100 every time. It just
Yeah,
feels like it just starts getting silly at some point.
yeah,
yeah,
Um, but yeah, I think there is potential for it too. Whether they whether they do that or not is a different question. But I'm really happy with how that technology's worked into it. I don't know if either of you saw my recent video on the DLSS 5, or you might have seen
no,
it
I
yourself.
haven't.
It was about Nvidia. They've brought that sort of AI upscaling technology out, and they showed like a demo of how the characters will look.
Yes, I have
Oh
seen
yeah,
Yeah,
it. Yeah,
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 right. And those looked really odd to me, or uncanny, as I said in my video. It's
mm,
like it needs some tweaking. The technology is very interesting, and I think it could be great, right? Especially to revitalize maybe some older games, or
mm,
even games going forward. But the worry I have mainly about that is that developers will become reliant on the technology of Nvidia's frame generation to make the games play smoother, and the facial AI, whatever they're calling it, to make the
yeah,
characters look better. I would still rather them spend more time and actually um make the game optimized and with characters that look good in the
Yeah.
first place rather than relying.
Yeah.
Because as soon as you start relying on some other technologies, I think you sort of drop off a bit on the on the development side, which is the worry.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So you touched on it a little bit before about giving honest opinions and how that kind of conversation goes with, these brands that are emailing you. And you talked about how you don't compromise your transparency with your audience, and But one thing I wanted to get into is, have you ever had an email that's kind of been like, no, we want you to do the video exactly like this? And what is your reaction to that, if that has happened or if it were to happen? How
yeah,
would you
it's
react to
happened.
that?
It's happened
Yeah,
a lot actually. I mean, sadly, it kind of makes me wonder about a lot of the other content we see because the amount of
yeah.
emails, I would honestly say it's over half of the
Wow.
emails
Wow.
I get are asking me to do a review based on a script, and I just can't do it.
No.
But
Yeah.
I would hope other content creators would have that integrity
Mm,
to also say no to these things. But I do worry sometimes that those things slip through the cracks or people just chase the money a bit much. But
yeah.
I can't overstep my line on that. I stick to that. That's the one like thing I will always stick to in terms of like my integrity, as you said.
Yeah.
If they're asking me to
Yeah.
make something which is disingenuine or misleading for viewers, or just saying something just so people will go and buy it, I would never feel happy with myself about that. So
Yeah.
that's a no go. But in terms of how often it happens, yeah, I mean I get these emails daily and I see them
Yeah.
every day. Yeah,
That surprises me, that, because like,
That,
yeah,
I had an email a little while ago about a mobile phone game, and I
mm,
won't say the mobile phone game because they don't deserve the publicity, quite frankly. But they sent me this email saying, "Oh, we really like your content. We'd like you to make this video about one of our games. What's your daily rate?" And the
yeah,
usual email that you get. And so I said, "Oh, it sounds really good. I've had a look at the game. The game looks really interesting. This is my daily rate, blah blah blah. Send me over the info and I'll get it done for you, essentially." And they sent me over stock footage of a completely different game.
wow,
And the thing that got me is the game that they were advertising was good, like on its own.
right, okay, yeah,
But they wanted me to basically put the stock footage on my monitor and pretend to play it when it was a mobile game.
yeah, that's incredible.
And it's just a bit like, but you have a good product. If you wanted me to just
yeah.
Yeah, right,
advertise this
literally, yeah,
product, I
yeah,
would have done it and it would have been fine. But they were just a bit, and just like, my gut's telling me no on this one. This isn't
Yeah.
right.
yeah.
So I just kind of like kindly replied and said, I don't think this is going to work out, and then nicely blocked that email.
Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, it just starts feeling disingenuine if you're putting something out there that you know for a fact is not what you're getting.
Yeah,
But it is a
Yeah.
strange case in your case when the actual product is better than what they want you to show. I mean,
yeah,
that's
right.
very
It,
strange
it
advertising
was
technique.
so odd. And
Yeah,
then, like, whenever anything like that happens, and I know, like, I probably shouldn't do this, but I go onto AI and kind of just say, "Can you just check this email out, because I don't know if this is legit." And it is legit, but what they've done is just weird. Like, even
yeah, right.
AI
Okay.
was saying this is odd.
Yeah, just what is going on
Mm.
there? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, now we're going to kind of go into more of the general gaming side. I feel like we touched on
Brilliant.
tech quite a bit, but this is
Yeah.
more
Yeah.
about the games that you
Yeah.
like to play. So same format, me and Poetic will just ask question after another. There's only a few, not as many in this section.
Okay.
Um, but whether it be digital or physical, what is the kind of holy grail of your gaming collection?
Um, so I suppose Holy Grail for me, I have a sealed version of the German Skyrim release, which came with a unique
Wow.
steelbook, which was only available in Germany.
Oh
Um,
wow,
it didn't actually cost that much, so in terms of Holy Grail value wise, nothing crazy. But for
yeah,
me, I love having it. It's like yes,
yeah,
I'm so glad I got that when I did it. There's no
yeah.
regrets at
Yeah.
all. Um, So that probably already reveals a bit about what one of my favorite games is.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's probably the holy grail. I have quite a lot of physical games now. I did have a big regret when I was younger. I sold my Xbox 360 to get an Xbox One because at the time I just wasn't making any money and I was
Yeah.
trying to put some money towards it. After
Yeah.
like a few weeks of playing the Xbox One, I was like, what did I do?
Yeah.
So so I sold
Yeah.
a lot of games, and it's kind of been my mission since then to basically buy back everything I sold and
Yeah.
just get myself back to a place that I'm happy with. Now I have adult money.
Yeah,
So
there's a
Yeah.
yeah,
lot of people that are doing that. I've kind of
yeah,
gone the other way. I
mm,
like my physical collection. I don't know where you can see. Like,
yeah,
I've got a little bobblehead of
Cute.
me, and then
yeah.
genuinely that's meant to be a bobblehead of me.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna show it. I don't think I've actually shown this on camera yet. So yeah, that's meant to be
I can see
me.
it.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know
yeah.
about the nose, like, but yeah,
You in a Liverpool kit there,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Of course.
yeah.
Um, but that is literally my collection. But I've gone the other way now of the only games that I'm gonna get physical are either like they have a really good emotional connection to me, or they are like objectively good games.
Yeah,
Like
that's
I think
sensible.
like the ones I've got there are like Expedition 33, you know, Kingdom Come Deliverance, and it will get the mention in this
Yeah, I was
podcast.
about to say, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, mate.
Then you've got Mafia: The Old Country, No Man's Sky, Astrobot, Cyberpunk, Ghost of Yotei. So
Good
they're
games.
all like pretty good. And then I've got
Yeah,
FIFA as well because
yeah,
it's
of
You know,
course.
FIFA.
why not?
Yeah, but I don't include that in the good games.
No, 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 that's the game you play every year.
Yeah, that's it. That's the one
Yeah,
I throw controllers at the wall at.
yeah, that's fair
Um,
enough.
Yeah, yeah.
so you alluded to this, but what is your favorite game of all time?
As much as I said Skyrim, it's actually its predecessor in Oblivion. Um,
Oh, of course.
yeah, the original Oblivion. I haven't actually played the remaster yet, but I have a reason for
No, I haven't.
that.
Why? What's the reason?
The reason was so you remember it shadow dropped, right? The
Yeah.
remaster. I had just got like into my playthrough on the original Oblivion.
Ah,
So I was actually literally last week I just finished off the 100% achievements for the DLC as well for
oh,
the
Oh,
that.
nice.
nice.
But I was just like, this the worst possible time for it to come out when it did, because I really got stuck into the original one. I was like, I can't start that one now as well. So it was like the best news ever, but also kind of gutting that the timing of it was so bad.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, Oblivion is my favorite game of all time, mainly because the impact it had on me and how much that got me into gaming. I liked gaming before Oblivion came out, but I think it was one Christmas me and my brother had a shared Xbox for Christmas. It was the Xbox Elite, and it came with Lego Indiana Jones and Kung Fu Panda is like a bundle, and
Yeah.
Oblivion. I knew nothing about Oblivion or Elder Scrolls at the time. I know it was Christmas Day, and I just played a bit of Lego Indiana Jones. I thought this is brilliant, and then everyone's sort of like, Christmas Day, people go quiet, and evening
Yeah.
time it starts quieting down. I was just like, I'll try this Oblivion game out, see what it is, and I was, I don't know how long I played, but I was so like in love with that game. I just couldn't believe it. Obviously, now looking back, the graphics are really dated, but at the
Yeah.
time, I was like the rats in the first sewer section. I was like, they're just real. This is ridiculous. How does this
Yeah.
game look and feel so good? But no, that game was the one, a real RPG that I just got fully stuck into. And that changed
True.
me as a gamer, I think. It sounds quite
Mm,
dramatic, but before that
No.
I was like I play really casually. When I was
yeah.
younger, I'd just throw a game and play the game for a bit and not really worry about completing it or necessarily listening to dialogue or stories. Just like I just play this game because I like games. But I played Oblivion and I found myself listening to every voice line and just carefully making decisions and choices, and it just kind of changed my perception of gaming as a whole. So not only did I love the game and I think it's a fantastic game, but the impact it had on me is probably the reason why it's my all-time favorite game.
I like
Nice.
it. I like it. What I like about that is usually people kind of go, my favorite game is this, and I don't really have a big reason for it, but you got a nice little story behind it. I quite like that.
I could talk about
Yeah.
games for a long, long time, so I'll try to limit myself.
No, you're
Nah,
absolutely
don't.
fine, mate. You're absolutely fine. We love it. This could be a good tangent one. What's your favorite gaming memory?
Gaming memory. Um, Actually, that's come straight to me, so I'll just go with that. I'll
Hmm.
trust my brain on the instinct for that one. Um, so in, I would say, secondary school, high school, it was called high school, but I'll say secondary school.
Yeah.
Um, we, me and my friends played RuneScape quite a bit, and
Mm.
back then we didn't. Actually, it may have even been primary school. We didn't really have phones or any way to communicate
Yeah.
outside of school. So school was, we'll run home after school, and we said to each other before we ran, "I'll meet you in this world and in this city in the game." And we ran home, and we would both log on, and because there's no phones, there was no other way to like communicate with each other back then. Otherwise, so we'd run home and go into RuneScape, and we'd meet each other in RuneScape,
Yeah.
and we'd have a great time. We'd go around and do quests together. And all of us were so into it that we used to draw these, like, we had A4 pieces of paper where we drew our characters, drew which weapons we had, and had like the stats and wrote everything down. And we had like, I started taping bits of A4 paper together, so I had this like massive sheet of my character and all the like
Nice.
armors and skills I had and stuff. And we used to just take these like big sheets of paper into school and just compare like what characters we had. And it was just really nice that we were all so incredibly into it and passionate about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was just,
Uh,
even though RuneScape, I don't really think in terms of gaming wise it's the best game in the world, but that time in my life and just being that into games and sharing it with other people, that was like the bit that was sort of magical. So I'd probably say that's one of my favorite gaming memories. Yeah.
well, that's beautiful, man.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
like that one. I like it because you were almost doing like online before online was a massive
Was-
Yeah.
thing,
Right.
really.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's sick. Um, is there a game that, as you mentioned, for example, RuneScape, not the best game, but is there a game similar, that's not the best game in the world, but means a lot to you, or is it just RuneScape?
No, no. Means a lot is in terms of like emotional attachment, but the game not
Yeah.
isn't necessarily that great.
Mm.
That's a good question. Um, I mean, it seems harsh saying No Man's Sky. I love No Man's Sky, and it's developed. Sorry, ignore the cat.
That's fine.
It's all right.
It's developed a lot, but the game is just, in terms of what it means to me. I love space. I'm fascinated by space and space
Mm,
exploration, and that game just sort of allowed me to live that out a bit because reality it feels like we're so far away from it, and
Yeah.
just being able to. I love randomness in games, and you don't know
yeah.
what you're going to find on a planet. You don't know what the creatures are going to look like, and that was just so exciting to me.
Mm.
Sadly, none of my friends really got into it, so I was just like solo exploring space. Um,
Yeah.
but I think in terms of obviously the game came out and it wasn't in a great way at release. I know
Mm.
they've done a lot of work, and I need to give them a lot of credit for how the game's changed over the years and improved. But No Man's Sky is very special to me in terms of allowing me to live out that sort of fantasy of or like love of space that I have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Just on that point, how do you feel about Starfield?
Okay, that's another story. So I love Bethesda. I love what they've output in the past.
Yeah.
And I was ridiculously excited for Starfield. I said I love space and I love Bethesda, as you can tell
Mm,
by Skyrim and Oblivion mentions.
yeah,
You can
exactly. Yeah.
imagine me thinking, it's Bethesda making a space game. Like this
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
my life is complete. I knew it would be on Game Pass, which I big fan of until they put the price up. Come back down now, thankfully, so a little bit at least. So I knew I could have played it on Game Pass, but I was really excited. So I bought it on Steam anyway to get
Mm.
the early
Yeah.
access. I was just like, I need to play it. This is like the game. And I found myself sort of, I guess I was forcing myself to try and like it more than I was.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
no, this is great. I'm having a good time, like reinforcing it to myself. Like, yeah, no, this is exactly what I wanted. And after I finished the game, I was really underwhelmed overall with how it was. I've spoke a lot about this to my friends. Um, so I think Starfield, they said, oh, there's like 1,000 planets you can explore, the full planets. I went to maybe 15 during my
Yeah.
time, and they felt so unbelievably bland,
Yeah.
and just
Mm,
it felt like there was no pull to explore. Um, and I to this day I just wish they said we have one solar system. That's what we have. One solar system, and you can fully explore every planet. And they put more love and care into each of those planets to
yeah.
make each of those planets feel more special. For example, when you go around Skyrim, all the caves feel different. All of the
Yeah.
mountains and buildings and taverns, everything feels like a unique place.
Yeah.
In Starfield, everything felt very samey to me. And I think the difference is there with the map on Skyrim, everything was handcrafted, and you can feel the love that they put into that, like creating the map and the world to explore. But Starfield, your 1,000 planets, it's not, you can't do it. It's
No.
it's too much time and too many resources. So again, I think they used what's the term? It's like the not generative AI, but the one I can't remember the name.
Procedurally
Procedural
generated.
generation. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
exactly what I was after. Thank you.
That's
So
right.
I think they procedurally generated pretty much all the planets and then put a few handcrafted buildings and things that spawned around in each of them.
Mm.
And overall, it just started feeling a bit like I've got no pull factor to do this. So I ended up pretty much narrowing down to the main story. And after I finished, I haven't gone back, sadly. Uh, I would like to try it again, but yeah, overall, I was pretty underwhelmed with that release because it should have and could have been their best work, but it really
Yeah,
isn't. Yeah.
I fully agree.
Have you ever played Kerbal Space Program?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm terrible at it, but yes.
Yeah, completely different game, but it is possibly the best space exploration that I've ever had in a game. But that is with me not playing a great deal of No Man's Sky. But
Okay.
I've like I'm very much like I played it when it first came out, didn't like it,
Mhm.
but I was about to get rid of it, and then I saw all the updates you were doing, so I'm keeping it there, and I'm like I will get to it and play
I
it
I promise
properly.
it's worth playing now. It
Yeah,
it
yeah,
really is.
I
When
believe
it
so.
came out, I was massively disappointed,
Mm,
especially with they really tried to deceive a lot of people. They said, "Oh yeah, the game has multiplayer and you could find people, but you won't find them because the space is so big." It was like one day later, I remember that someone said, "Oh, I found this same planet as this person, and we can't see each other." And it was like, oh, they were caught out in their lie.
yeah,
Oh
But
wow.
they've worked really hard to rebuild that reputation with so many free updates that actually have changed the game massively
yeah.
over the years. I can't believe I reckon it's about 10 years since it released now. It must nearly be 10
Wow.
years.
That's mental.
It is. Yeah, time's
Time
flying now.
flies, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the part that I said I wasn't going to tell you anything about the game
Okay.
and last meal. And essentially, with a meal, you have a starter, a main course, and a dessert. So for a starter, it is a gaming mini game.
Okay.
So this is the last game that you're going to play, game and mini game. What would you choose?
Okay. So the last game. So okay. So you mean that this is the last game I play in my life? This is
So
if
these
I had
three
to choose
games
one.
will be like basically like
Okay. So,
someone sat
okay.
you down. This is your last time playing games,
Yeah.
and you've got
Okay.
3 games to pick. I'll explain the rest as we go on.
Okay. All right. That's very
I explained
interesting.
that really badly. I'm so sorry.
No, no.
Yeah.
I think.
So basically your starter is like a mini game. So it could be a very small game or a game within a game. So for
Mm,
example, if you played Horizon, they've got that like I forget what it's called, but like the fake chess game.
Okay. Yeah, I
So
know what you
something
mean.
like
Or
that.
like Gwent in Witcher or
yeah,
something like that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's very tough. Um, wow, you've got me on the spot with that one.
No, that's all right.
Um,
I can say a few of like my favorites if
yeah,
that
maybe
kind of
just let my
spurs it.
brain mull over for a minute. Yeah.
So one of my favorites is Five Finger Fillet in Red Dead Redemption.
Okay.
Or like the sumo mini game in Bully, or have you ever played Spore?
Yes. Yeah.
So like the first like evolution where you're the amoeba and where you're
Yeah.
going
Yeah.
around.
Yeah.
Any game where it's like I'm this little thing and I need to eat stuff to get bigger, and then you eat more stuff. Like
Okay.
I love that type of
Oh,
stuff.
what was it called? Feeding Frenzy on Xbox 360.
Mm,
You start as you've just reminded me of that one with that, but it's you start as like a small fish and you have to eat like little things. It's kind of
yeah,
similar to Spore in a way, but then you
Yeah.
grow into a bigger fish and you can eat bigger fish and it just sort of goes like that.
yeah,
It's
Oh.
like really simple but kind of addicting, and I
yeah,
think it was
Mm.
on the Xbox 360. But
yeah.
it was just like a fun little game to pass time while you were waiting for a friend to get online or something. So yeah, Feeding Frenzy.
Nice, amazing. So the main course is essentially a triple A game, a big game that you wouldn't want to put down. And I usually go for ones that are long because then you
Yeah,
get longer playing the games. Essentially, it's your last time
yeah,
playing them.
yeah. That's a good question. Um, I'm
It's too
tempted to
many.
say there is. I mean, in terms of games that if you could only play it one last time, games like The Last of Us, that they're
Oh,
such
shout.
epic games. It's like it's such a good story, but then again, it's not too long, so it's like I want my meal to go on for a bit.
Yeah.
um, uh, so I'd probably say Skyrim because I think
Mm,
there's so much you can do, and if you don't just rush the main quest, you can really take your time with it and enjoy
yeah.
it as you would want to with your main. So yeah, I'll go with
Yeah.
Skyrim on that one. Yeah.
Nice. And then the last one, and I don't know if you played these types of games, but this is your dessert, so it's like a cozy game or a game that's like got a real attachment for you personally that you'd like to play.
Oh wow. Yeah, I do play a bunch of cozy games, but in terms of like a game that I have an attachment to,
Hmm.
uh, and I find quite peaceful. I know we've just literally spoken about it, but No Man's Sky comes up for me again because
Nice.
that game is just like I don't know, you're just kind of at peace, and there's
Yeah.
no quest necessarily you have to rush and do. It's more about taking things at your own pace and enjoying things and going. I want to go and do this today. Oh, I want to go and just build this base today, or I just want to take pictures of or like scan these creatures on this planet today, or find all the flora and fauna and things like that. It's
Yeah.
like you can just pick and choose what you want to do, and I think it's a nice change of pace from a lot of other games, especially if I've hopped off Valorant or something recently.
Yeah.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice
I
change of pace.
I tried playing Valorant once and never again. Never
Oh, really?
again.
It's Did you play on console or did you try on your?
Yeah, console. Like
Okay,
mouse
yeah,
and keyboard. The
okay,
only mouse and keyboard shooter I've ever been good at was Brothers in Arms,
okay,
like
yeah,
back in the day. But
yeah,
that can't be classed as a
yeah.
first-person shooter, really. Um, okay, so we move on to our quick fire. Thank you for doing that, by the way, because
That's okay.
that is quite difficult, and we do
Yeah,
put
it's
Yeah.
we
difficult on
do
the spot.
yeah. But I like doing that because if
Mm,
I tell you that beforehand, you can have loads of games going through your head. Whereas if
yeah,
it's on the spot, it's more of a gut feeling, and we kind
yeah,
of get
true. Yeah,
Yeah.
no,
more
that
of
makes sense.
a truer reflection of what games you like. Um, but I don't think you're going to stop gaming anytime soon and have your
No,
gaming last meal. Good.
hopefully not.
Yeah. So this is just quick fire round.
Okay.
And this is kind of the last section where we ask questions, and then we'll open it up for you to ask any questions of us if
Yeah,
you
sure.
want to. You don't
Okay.
have to, but it's open for you. So Poetic, do you want to start?
Yeah. What's your favorite content memory so far?
Content memory. Oh, that's a tough one. I suppose it would be when I made the setup tour, the first one that went like viral,
Yeah,
Mm.
and just seeing how many people were interested in like, oh, thank you for these ideas, and like how many people not impacted in like a really meaningful way, but in terms of helping people out. And because
yeah,
this is a very small room, and I know a lot of people are just like basically write it off. No, you can't do anything with a small room. You can't fit this, and you can't
Yeah.
have this. So it was actually kind of the feeling of helping people come up with ideas because I
mhm,
never really thought about it that way beforehand. So when I made that video, it was kind of like, oh yeah, I am actually giving people ideas, and now they want to see more of my things, and it was just a really nice feeling. It's like I get the like, nice feeling because people are saying thank you, and they actually
yeah,
Yeah.
get something out of my content as well. So it's like it was really nice, and I
No,
suppose
it's
those kind of
brilliant.
things in general from content are my favorite parts. Yeah.
amazing. Okay, best console of all time.
Uh, uh, it's a toss up for me between the PlayStation 2 and the Xbox 360. I
Yeah,
think I'm
Ooh,
gonna have to
okay.
give it to the Xbox 360 because of how much fun stuff they had. I
yeah,
feel like a lot of
Yeah.
fun things are missing from newer consoles. We've kind of gone down this corporate route of everything being really clean. Xbox
Yeah.
360 had it brought parties in really early on. The avatar system I actually really liked. It was fun. You could
Yeah.
play
I
games and
liked
get
it.
rewards from different games. You might play Gears of War and you earn a cool T-shirt or a hat for your avatar, and
Yeah.
then you could share that and your friends would see it. And those things were really fun. And I miss that kind of like fun era in gaming, that more sort of carefree side of it, and
yeah.
being able to customize and things. I feel like the Xbox 360 was really, really good at that. So I'd say that's my overall best console.
Do you know what? I'm surprised you didn't say the Xbox One Scorpio edition.
I missed that. Do you know what? That was really funny at the time. Just on a quick tangent, when that first came out and it was revealed as the code name for Scorpio, I
Yeah.
was like, wait, I was kind of at that point. I was a bit more worried about like how people are going to find my channel and SEO and stuff.
Yeah.
I remember for the first time in a while, because I used to at one point when my channel was going well, I just typed Scorpio in, and you could see
Yeah.
like my stuff would come up pretty fast. And then now it was only about Xbox Scorpio. I was like, no, I'm gone. It's
Oh,
pushed me
no.
off. I was like, no, this is the end of me for a while. You know, it's like an irrational fear I had for a while.
Oh,
That's
dear.
brilliant.
Yeah, that would have been a good answer though. But the Xbox One was pretty meh overall, sadly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Yes, sorry, lost my train of thought just then.
No, you're right.
If you could make your own dream game, what
Ooh.
would it be?
So it'd be an RPG for sure.
Mm.
I love RPGs.
Yeah.
Okay, so a space RPG is the start. That's my base. I'm building this
Yeah.
as I talk, by the way. There's
Yeah,
no
go for it. I
pre-plan.
like it.
Yeah, and okay, so I want to combine it with you mentioned Spore earlier, and that's the game I've wanted them to remaster or like
Oh,
remake more than anything else.
yeah.
You have no idea how much I loved that when I was a kid.
What that game was promised as
Yeah,
to what it came out as,
yeah.
like, it should have
I
been
actually
done a lot
really
better.
liked it until it got to the space phase, and then it sort of just went into a weird. I don't know.
Yeah.
It kind of didn't
Yeah.
really.
Yeah.
I didn't really like how the game ended up. But the first few stages of like, as you said, being like a little bacteria or whatever,
Yeah.
whatever you want to say, and then going out onto the land and then you model your 3D character and stuff. That was just brilliant as a kid. Just full on
Oh, yeah.
creativity overload.
Loved
You
it.
just make anything. So I'd like to incorporate that as a system into the game. So it's an RPG, but your character grows. So you start as like maybe some sort of alien, but you evolve based on your choices in the game.
Yeah.
So like you play through. I actually think there is real potential for AI to help with this in the future in games, where
Yeah.
like it basically evolves with you. The game evolves with you, and the people and towns and settlements evolve and change
Mm.
with your decisions and how the game plays out. So hopefully games will be like that in the future. But yeah, so a space RPG with a character that changes over time, not just in terms of how it feels about the world, but literally the shape of the character can change, and maybe
Yeah.
it has to grow wings to get past a certain area, or maybe it has to
Yeah.
evolve in a certain way. Evolution and that kind of thing would be really fun in an RPG, I think.
Yeah. Oh,
Don't
what
have a
would
name
you-
for it yet, but
I was just about to ask, what would you call it?
no, I have to come back to me on that one.
Yeah. We'll just see in like a month's time. You upload a new video, like I've
Yeah.
started
Yeah.
developing a game.
Don't tempt me.
I know, yeah.
Yeah.
Is that something that interests you? The game
Oh
development?
yeah, I've kind of always written myself off as not being good enough for it. I know it's something you could learn,
Yeah.
but it just feels so overwhelming.
Yeah.
I've got a couple of friends who've dabbled in the programs like Godot or Godot, however you say it,
Yeah.
and also Unreal Engine and things. And it's always fascinating to me. I love seeing it, and I actually watch a bunch of YouTube like game development
Mm.
people. Just so fascinating watching the creative process and how they build things and how they overcome problems is actually the biggest one because they run into problems non-stop, like
Yeah.
Yeah.
bugs and issues. And it's like, how do we get around that? And yeah, it's fascinating.
Mm.
I would love to. I would love to. I've always thought I've had a good sort of head for ideas for games,
Yeah.
but not necessarily the smarts to like actually put it into a package or
Right.
get my head down and build it. But if I a dream job, I suppose, would actually be if I worked in a game development company and I was just sort of some advisor. I think this would be
Yeah.
a good idea for this. I
Yeah.
feel like I could come up with some good ideas for games. But
Nice.
yeah.
Okay, this is probably the hardest question we've asked you all
Okay.
day. Top 3 games of all time.
All time. Okay. Well, Oblivion makes the list
Yeah.
at number 1 for me.
Yeah, that's
Um,
one.
I'm going to go with Borderlands 2.
Nice.
Ooh.
I absolutely adore Borderlands as a franchise. Not necessarily the last one so much, but one, 2, and 2 and the pre-sequel are pretty good. I like 3 as well, but 4 wasn't so great in my opinion. But 2, amazing. 1 and 2 are amazing. And third place would be, that is very difficult. I'm going Halo 3, just for
Ooh,
how much fun I had on that game. I thought the campaign, it was a really good end to the trilogy in terms of how
Yeah.
that campaign finished off. The multiplayer was fantastic. The custom games they brought in, there was just so much to do at that age. And it was just like, I feel like Halo 3 then was what something like Roblox would be to kids now. in terms of like you just have a
Yeah.
creative overload. You can jump in and play. You might just play races on Halo 3. You might just go on and do these racetracks people have made, or you might go on and play these fun little Mike Myers mini games or zombies infected and just anything. It could be anything. You could go on and have a different experience every day. And that
Yeah.
game offered quite a lot back then. So, not only for the campaign, but also for what it brought to the table at the time.
Yeah.
That makes my top 3. But I'd say honorable mentions to Fallout New Vegas, Hades, and Hollow Knight as well. I think, and Skyrim, obviously, man. That's
Nice.
natural.
You
Yeah.
know, you're the first person we've had on the podcast that has done it in order.
Okay.
You're the first person that's been able to put an order to it. Usually people are like in no particular order and then just name 3 of their favourite
Okay.
games.
Okay.
So fair play to you for being able to do that.
Yeah, I'm a bit OCD with quite a few things, so it's probably I have lists for everything. Actually, that's one thing that I am very keen on.
A never-ending to-do list.
Yeah, I have lists of my games since games I finished since about 2012, and movies since
Wow.
about 2014.
I need to see those lists.
I mean, I'm actually tempted to make a video on it because I realized not
Yeah, no,
everyone does
please
it.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah, please do.
And there's some really good websites out there for alt tracking as well. There's one for games called Backlogged, which I can't recommend enough. It's like you make an account and you just you can log the games you finished, give it a star rating, review it, and see what your friends are up to as well. It's a really good
Oh,
website.
that's sick. I'll
Yeah.
have to have a
That
look
is
at that.
sick.
Yeah, it's 100%. I should make a video on it because the website deserves a bit more recognition because
Yeah.
it's really great. I like it a lot.
Yeah, 'cause
But yeah, I'm a big lists guy. That's probably why I put
Nice.
them in order.
I'm definitely going to use that because at the minute, I don't know if you know this, but I've set myself a challenge of platinum and 100% in every single AC game ever made.
Oh, nice. Yes, I do remember you
Yeah.
mentioning it in a previous pod. Yeah.
Apart from obviously Assassin's Creed 1, it came out when there were no trophies.
Okay, so you're just free pass on that one.
So free pass on that one. But I'm trying my best to get through all the others before Black Flag Resync comes out.
Ooh, that's a challenge. When is that? They've given the release date now,
The
right?
19th of July. So I've
Good
done
luck.
Yeah.
2.
Good luck, Dan.
I know. I've done 2.
Okay.
I'm very nearly done on Brotherhood. So then
Okay.
I'd have 3. And I want to... No, sorry. I'd have Revelations. Then I'd have 3. And I want to say Liberation is before Black Flag. It's either before 3 or after 3. One of the two.
Right.
But
I can't
I've
remember the
made
order
myself
now.
a little... I need to do a video on it, to be honest. I haven't got round to
Yeah.
it, but yeah, that'll be good to rate those games. And then I can
Yeah.
look at it and make a video tier list on them as well.
Yeah. I see.
But we're kind of at the point where we'll wrap up the podcast now. But before we do you have any questions for us too? And it can be one together, it can be individualized, you know.
Yeah, okay. So first is, I guess, a shared question for both of you. I know you've been asked this kind of question a couple of times about like how you see the podcast going, but is there any sort of segments that you've thought of that you'd like to include or test out in the future? I know a lot of people have asked about like where you see the podcast ending up, but have they had any like toyed with ideas for different ideas or different kind of things in there?
Yeah, well, you probably know yourself, like things evolve and you take bits out. Like we had like Dan's Good Gamer, where I'd recommend a content creator. We had Poetic's Corner, and I don't really know why we took those things out. It just kind of didn't really fit anymore. But I think Poetic's Corner is something that I'd quite like to get back because if you have listened to that far back, Poetic is very good. He'd do like a poem. For anyone listening that doesn't know, he'd do a poem about a game without telling me what the game was, and I'd have to kind of guess as soon as I could before we ended the poem. What that game would be, and some were easy, and some I was a bit like, I haven't got a clue with this one.
That's fun.
It was quite a good interactive segment. So I think more, for me personally, more stuff where like the viewers and the listeners can get involved a little bit. I don't really know what they would be, but like the last meal thing that came into our heads, just like I came up with a little bit of an idea for it on a drive home from work, and I actually called Poetic on the drive home, and we kind of like refined it and made it into what it is now. But yeah, I don't know what the segments will be, but more like interaction, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's great.
For me, it's quite similar, but I think trying to do this live with listener interaction
Yeah,
would be quite cool. So I think that's one where I think maybe for Christmas special or a New Year's special or something, we do a live podcast and then listeners can come in, ask us questions and stuff like that. So I
well,
think that would be one.
we've got a
Okay.
year coming up, haven't we? A
Well,
year since we started it, so
Yeah,
we could do it then.
yeah,
yeah,
that
that's a great
sounds
shout.
like a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're very much like we kind of just see where it goes. Like we have these ideas on the fly. Like I think the main thing that we want to do to improve is have guests from all walks of life, and we never want to
Yeah,
have. We never want to be like, oh, we had such and such a guest on, and now we have to have a guest that's better or bigger or what have you.
Yeah,
Like,
I think the variation is the beautiful part of it. You're just
yeah,
having
yeah,
that. It's really interesting to get the perspectives of different sizes of channels and
yeah,
different where people are from as well. I think it's just really interesting to see how
yeah,
people do
yeah.
things because
Well,
everyone's sort of making their own way on this journey. If
100%.
everyone's making content
yeah,
creation, there's no like rules. There's nothing you read
No,
and you just start that you just go and
that's
the
it.
rest is just you figure out as you go. So it's really
Well,
nice.
even like, because it just kind of lined up that the last episode we did was Lydia, and then the next episode is this one that's going to go out as of recording
Hmm.
tomorrow on the 18th, and the kind of follower count is a massive thing, but like Lydia's just started, and you've obviously been doing it for many years.
Yeah,
Um, but when you actually like read between the lines of some of the stuff that she's doing and some of the stuff that you're doing, it's obviously on different levels, but it is similar in
yeah,
yeah,
how like the approaches. There are things that are different, but the
yeah,
general
100%.
consensus is
Yeah,
like, I'm going to do this way and listen to you. And like you do something quite similar, and it's interesting to see that like someone just starting has a similar outlook to someone who's been doing it for such a long
yeah. I
time.
mean, we're all just people. Like at the
Yeah,
end, and
yeah,
that's it.
the numbers are just so superficial in the whole grand scheme of things. We're all just people making content because we like making content,
That's
and
it.
that's how it
exactly.
should be.
Yeah,
So
100%.
yeah, I think it's really great that you have like a variation of people on, and it's not important to you that you just need to keep like improving, so to speak, or on
yeah,
like the
No.
previous guest or anything, because that's not what it's about. I
Yeah.
think you've got a
yeah,
really nice formula. As you said, if you can get some more interactive things in there, then I'm sure the next guest will love that as well. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Bro, thank you for that.
one year is very fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm glad you've kept it going so well.
Yeah, it's
yeah,
it's mad. Well, there's a statistic that if you get past like 3 episodes of a podcast, you're in the top like 5% of podcasts.
Yeah,
Like it's mad.
I know. I did 2 episodes of a podcast I did with my
Did you?
friends, and then yeah, sadly one friend moved away, so it kind of crumbled. But I loved what we did even for the short time.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I'm really glad you've managed to keep it going, and it's been really interesting. As I said, I love listening to your previous podcast. It's so
Nice
nice
one,
to
mate.
hear the outlook of other people as well as yourselves.
Yeah, nice one. Appreciate that. Are there any other questions you want to ask? This is
Um,
like free for as many as you want.
yeah, sure. Let's just have a fun mini game. Both pick a game character.
Oh,
Any.
oof.
oh, okay, I like this.
Okay,
Any
I
game
had to look
character.
round.
Yeah,
I'm
Be
just gonna
Okay,
go.
okay, I've
Yeah,
got one.
I've got one.
okay, so now Dan, you first.
Do I say it?
Yes, you can say it. Yeah.
Spyro the Dragon.
Okay. Poetic.
Super Mario.
Okay, who wins in a fight?
Oh,
Super Mario. Easy.
Have you got any argument against? I would probably lean towards Super Mario because the the powers.
yeah, because
One's a dragon.
the only thing is that Spyro is a dragon and Mario is a
What?
plumber.
Oh, no. That's completely fair. But what's Bowser then?
Yeah, fair point. All right, I'll give it to Mario then. I'm
Okay.
only fighting for Spyro because I said them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's
Uh,
brilliant.
I like that.
No, yeah.
Yeah, we might
Um,
have to steal that.
Yeah, we might do. Just
no, sure. I
type
was
on
just
my
thinking of
notes.
one other one as well. If Dan, you think of a game world, so like
Oh, yeah,
just like any open world game or some just any game world. And Poetic, if you think of a different character now.
yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, got it.
Okay.
Okay, I've got it.
Okay. So Poetic, which is your character?
Kratos.
Okay. And Dan, what's your game world?
Ghost of Tsushima.
Oh, okay.
I think he'd
Oh,
do quite well.
Yeah, you think that's basically what I was going to ask is like how well would he do as the main character in that
Yeah.
game? I was like,
yeah.
yeah,
I
you
feel
know
like
what?
he's a bit too OP.
Yeah.
Yeah, he would do all right there, wouldn't he?
That
He
would
would
have been
manage.
that would have been amazing if I said like Nintendogs or something like that. Then.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'd
that was good.
change mine to Joel from The Last of Us. I reckon that would be a very interesting
Yeah.
dynamic.
Yeah, if he
Yeah.
suddenly appeared there, like, hold up, where is everyone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no, that's
Nice.
brilliant.
So we're
Cool.
back too early. I know, Dan, you've said in previous podcasts that you can ask you on any given day about your favorite games. Have you got any sort of new ones that you've played in the last couple of months? I know you're playing Expedition 33 right now, right? I don't know if that's
Yeah.
creeping up there.
I don't know if you know or not, but me, Poetic, and another creator called Still Gaming OT, we're doing our top 10 games
Yes, I've
of
seen
all
your
time.
videos. Yeah.
And the next one that we do is number 1.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to give that one away.
Okay, that's
I
fair.
think
That's
some
fair.
people already know it.
Mhm.
But it's not Kingdom Come Deliverance. That was number
Okay.
2, and people were shocked.
It's
But
gonna be Kingdom Come Deliverance too.
it's not. Someone commented it, and I think it was Coach Marv. Categorically, I said it is not Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 because I think
Okay.
that is worse than number 1.
Yeah, how long do we have to
Okay.
wait for your number one then? Is that coming out soon?
In
Some
a
point this week.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I'm gonna do it maybe like Wednesday or something. I don't know.
Okay.
The
Alright.
short videos I'm kind of doing as and when I feel like. I used to do
Yeah.
I used to do 3 a day when I first started, and now I do 1 a day. But it's like not 1 a day anymore.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but going back to your question of Expedition 33, I was doing that the campaign of that on stream,
Mhm.
and I was playing it, and I was like, I might have to change my top 10 here.
Ooh.
And we were already in the top 3, so
Yeah.
I was like, this could be top 3. It is take away the gameplay, take away the combat, take away the amazing like turn-based mechanics and stuff.
Yeah.
The storyline of that is
Yeah.
unreal. Like I've just trying to think where I've got up to. I've done like the first bit. I've got to the map, gone through the water world type place. I'm trying to say this without giving spoilers for anyone
Yeah.
who
No
hasn't
worries.
played it. And I've got to the next place, which is like an ancient something or other. I've done like the mansion and met the guy with no face and stuff like that. But I'm still very early. I'm like 8 hours in,
Right.
maybe.
Okay.
But as soon as I saw the opening scene of like, I think it's called the Gommage. I still don't know what that
Yeah.
actually means,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
when the paintress does a thing and everyone
Yeah.
disappears, does a Thanos thing.
Yeah.
That was one of like, I am gonna get hooked on this game.
Yeah. It's such an interesting concept. The
Yeah,
whole game,
Yeah.
the premise of the game is just so interesting. So it's
The-
just like more fascinating seeing how it's gonna play out.
the thing that
Yeah.
I love about it is a lot of games hold your hand and them like, right, this is such and such. He's from this guild and he does that. Whereas Expedition 33, they'll come in and go, oh, I'm gonna go to the Gommage, and you're like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I still don't really know what it means. I still don't know why they're going on this expedition. I don't
But it's
know.
that intrigue though, right? It's the
Yeah.
intrigue that drives you
Yeah.
forward and you want to
Yeah,
know. You want to
like
know what it is and what it's about.
it's the first game in a while that I've like played that is almost book-like in
Okay.
that
Yeah, I get that.
every chapter of it is a cliffhanger, and I absolutely love it for that. That like there's so many questions that I have around that game, and you know, there's the story-based questions, but then there's also the design of like, you know, why have they made this world look like this, or is because I'm looking at it more of like a book, and I'm like, is this foreshadowing? Is it this language feature, or
Yeah.
you know, like all this different stuff that's in this game, and it's easily gonna go into my top 10
Yeah.
once I've
Oh well,
finished it.
that's great. Yeah.
It's such a good game. But yeah, I absolutely love it. And the only annoying thing about it is I play a different game on every day that I stream. So I
Yep.
stream 3 days a week. So
Oh, okay.
I can only play Expedition 33 on a Saturday
Yeah.
because I've played it on stream. I don't want to not play it on stream because
Yeah.
then you
Yeah.
know,
I
which is
completely
really
get that.
annoying.
I used to hate that for gaming because sometimes when I was younger, I used to record like gameplay playthroughs and things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And it's like you don't want it. You're desperate to play it, but it's not sort of a good time to record.
yeah,
And it's
Yeah.
just kind of like you're stuck in this point where you're like, I really want to play it, but I need to record this and like have my mic set up and everything.
yeah,
And it's like it's always really difficult, but it does keep you sort of intrigued to or like excited to get back into it, right? I'm sure you can't
yeah.
wait for your next stream to play the
Oh
next
no,
chapter or something.
I
Yeah,
can't wait. And I work in a school, so after this week, I'm off for a week, so I might be able to
yeah.
get a few extra days
Oh,
in there.
brilliant. Yeah, yeah. And I guess same question to you, Poetic. Anything recently that would challenge your favorite games, or are you pretty set on what your top three would be?
Oh, that's a great question. I think so the only games I've played recently that would challenge my top three, and it sits within my top 10, um, would be Astrobot.
Mm,
Okay.
Um, but where I've essentially gone down a list because I would really struggle to pick my top three games that I absolutely love of all time. So I've gone down the route of like the games that have had the most profound impact on myself.
Yeah, I understand
In
that. Yeah.
um, and so being because I started gaming on the N64, and I've basically owned everything, every console from then on to what we have now.
Yeah.
I've been very fortunate with that, and so it's very hard for a game today for me to have an influence on the way I perceive the world.
Right.
I'm not saying that there haven't been games like
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
but it's quite
mm.
hard. Um, but I think Astrobot could potentially be up there. I also think, and so, funny enough, this didn't hadn't made it into my list, but The Last of Us, um, God of War, and um, gosh, I don't know why it keeps slipping my mind. Spider-Man.
Okay.
I think those three games could have easily made it into the top three.
Mm.
They didn't because again, everything that I would have taken away from that, I
Yeah.
have taken away from a previous game before.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Um, but that being said, I do feel that like I haven't played any Final Fantasy games, so
Neither have
the
I.
yeah, so there are games out there that I haven't played that are critically acclaimed by
Yeah.
like the masses that could probably shift my perspective completely. So um, it's an interesting journey that I know if the thing is I'm quite time poor, and once I get enough time to experience all the games I want, then yeah, I would probably change my mind
Yeah. I
quite
understand.
quickly.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That's a really interesting answer. I have one question about Astrobot. I haven't played it, and I understand it won Game of the Year. And
yeah,
it's just, from the outside perspective, I loved Astro's Playroom. 100% it. It was great. I thought it was a really
Mm.
fun way to use the controller and really nice introduction to the PS5 for me.
yeah.
So, what is it about Astrobot that's special to you? Because from my perspective, it's really hard. I'm not saying you're wrong. Obviously, everyone's entitled to an opinion, but it's really hard to understand why it's in that conversation and why would it win Game of the Year. What was it about Astrobot that really stood out or
So
made it that
that
level?
that's a brilliant question, and it's actually one that I've wanted to speak about for a while. Because at the time, a lot of people were like, "Oh, Black Myth Wukong should win Game of the Year,"
Mm.
right? So I'll speak on why I feel like Black Myth shouldn't win. shouldn't have won. It didn't win, but why it was right
Right,
to not
yeah, I
win.
understand. Yeah.
And it's because, don't get me wrong, great game. Um, Especially if you like those type of games, right? And when I played it, I quickly realized that yeah, it's fun, but it's more frustrating than it is fun. And it also reminded me a lot of a PS3 game. So
Okay.
like there are certain things within that game that it shouldn't be there. Like there's no mini map, or like it's very like the level design is very cumbersome in terms of like you have to walk like through this bit to get to the next boss. Like a lot of it felt dated,
Right.
and not to say it's not a great game, but it didn't feel deserving of a win. Like it hadn't
Yeah, I mean, game of the year is
revolutionized.
a huge thing, right?
Yeah,
That's quite a statement. So what
yeah.
was it about Astrobot that does make it
So
deserve that?
so with Astrobot, um, I grew up basically playing Super Mario
Okay.
64, the Super Mario games,
Yeah.
and there is a certain special sauce, if you will, within the Mario games, especially the good ones, that you play it and you're like, this is a video game, right? The story is naff, like there's no story or
Yeah.
anything, but the actual gameplay is great.
Just does
And
everything right, I guess, in
yeah,
terms of what you want
and
from a
that is
platformer. Yeah.
basically what Astrobot was. It was the first time in a very long time where I played a game where I couldn't fault any of the gameplay aspects. Like literally every single gameplay mechanic that they put in was fantastic.
Hmm.
And I had to sit down and basically be like, the biggest reason why we play video games is to have fun. There are
Mhm.
other things around it, but we do it to have fun. That was the most fun I have had playing a video game in decades.
Yeah. I think that's a really, really interesting point and a good point when it comes to reviews in general and review scores and what we expect
Yeah,
for game of the year. Because a lot of people, it feels like they marking games on the same scale. So
Yeah.
yeah,
they're putting games that are like smaller platformers and indie games on the same pedestal as you'd expect from GTA 6, for example.
Hmm.
yeah,
And like well, not everyone, but it feels like a lot of people just want the most realistic game, that the best, highest graphic settings, the most details, the most buildings you can enter, and everything like that. And it's like, okay, does that mean something like Astrobot can never achieve those then, because it doesn't have any of those criteria?
yeah,
But as you said, in terms of what Astrobot is, and the ceiling for Astrobot might be lower for the game it's trying to be. But if it does absolutely everything right under that ceiling, that's full game. That's, as you say, it's a perfect
yeah,
game.
Yeah.
Everything it's tried to do, it's done. And
yeah,
I think it's really important to like make sure you sort of keep the scales separate, like understand what
Yeah.
is this game trying to be. I've noticed that myself going back to play a lot of older games. It's like I have to take into account that this game was made 25 years ago
yeah,
now.
exactly, yeah,
It's like I can't mark that on the same way that you mark a game today. It's not fair. You have to
Hmm.
no,
think at the time this achieved a lot of, graphically at the time that was the pinnacle of what came out,
Yeah.
and that was a special.
yeah,
So it's really
and
important to like measure that, I guess.
yeah, and it's a similar argument that people are making now for Forza Horizon, right?
Mm,
Like last year, not last year, but when Forza Horizon 5 came out, I played it and I was like, this is genuinely one of the best games I've ever played.
mhm.
Right? Not best racing game. It was genuinely just one of the
Yeah,
best
it does
games.
everything right in terms
Yeah,
of the game. It's arcadey, but you've got realistic looking cars and a fun
yeah.
map.
And it wasn't even considered for Game of the Year, which it's like, well then what why not? And people are making the same argument now with
Yeah, I've
Forza
seen the
Horizon
same.
6. Like,
Hmm.
should it? And I think it should, right? Because
Yeah,
again, if
I
it's
haven't seen a racing
fun,
game make it to the Game of the Year nominations for so I can't even remember the last time we
yeah,
had one in the
exactly.
Yeah.
nominations, and it's not fair
Exactly.
because for
It's
a
not.
racing game, it's ticking all of the boxes, right? You've got a fantastic location, you've got
Yeah.
incredible looking cars, but whilst keeping the arcadey kind of racing mechanics that make driving games fun. I don't know, I can't wait for Tuesday. It's like my next
Yeah,
most
same.
hype game. it's really difficult to try. I was like, I will not spend £120 to play 4 days early. I'm not gonna do it. It's on Game Pass in 2 days now.
Yeah, exactly.
I can hold off. But yeah, it's a really good point you make, and I think for a racing game, if you made if you had like a checkbox for all the things you want in a racing game, I mean, what would it leave off really? What does it leave
Yeah.
off? Like maybe 1 or 2 things from a massive list. It's really up there, and there's no reason why for what it's trying to be. Yeah, sure, not everyone loves racing games, but for a
Yeah.
racing game, if it's ticking all of the boxes, it should absolutely be in contention for Game of the Year. It should be there.
Yeah,
It should be
exactly.
allowed to have a chance.
Yeah.
I don't think it will win.
No.
I think
No, it's a tough year, man.
Yeah, I think GTA 6 has got that one in the bag,
I think
but
so.
I do think it deserves to be nominated.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that would be good just in general to see a racing game be in that position. It's been so long. I actually really want to look up when the last time a racing game made it to the
Yeah.
Game of the Year awards because I can't remember now. It must
I
be
can't
going back quite a
remember
while. But yeah, that's a really good point.
Nice. Any other questions or?
I think I'll leave you there. that
No,
was that
no.
was great though. That was really interesting. Thank
No
you.
problem.
No, great questions, mate.
So now, Scorpio, before we kind of wrap up the podcast, this is just your chance to promote yourself, tell people where they can find you. Because a lot of our listeners probably, I'd like to think they've heard of you, but a lot of them may have not.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not in the tech space, maybe not.
Yeah.
But yeah. Oh, thank you. That's very kind. I am a pretty humble person, so I find it difficult to talk about myself in terms of
We
that.
all do.
Yeah. But yeah, if anyone would like to check out what I do, if you want to see more unboxings for things like keyboards, mice, or computer parts and whatnot, you can find me on YouTube under ScorpioTech. You can also just search ScorpioTech on the other usual platforms like TikTok and Instagram if you want to find me there. Then if you want to see the silly side of me, that's Scorpio Quest, and that's where I post things like gaming clips with my friends, funny little things that happen and stuff I've recorded over the time. And yeah, you'll find me somewhere on there, either gaming or tech related. Thank you.
Amazing.
Wicked.
Good stuff. Well, this has been amazing. I've really enjoyed it. Thank you as well for taking time out of your busy schedule.
You're really welcome. I've
to
loved it as well.
slot us in. And I'm sure, if you're up for it, we'll definitely have you on again in the future.
Oh, 100%.
Would love it. Yeah. No, it's been really great. I was very nervous at the start, but I settled into it.
You're all right. You're all right.
No,
Don't need
you
to be
were
nervous.
great, honestly.
Yeah. No, it's been really, really nice. Thanks for having me on.
Great stuff. Okay, so Poetic, if you want to sign us off, you can join in with this, Scorpio,
Yeah,
by
sure.
the way, if you want, but it's entirely up to you.
Yeah.
Do you know what? Just going back to answer one of your questions about like what segment do we want to add or do, I think I will need to get better at closing off the podcast. That's one thing. But Scorpio, honestly, thank you so much.
Very welcome.
As I've mentioned on previous podcasts, I do this personally to get a bunch of insight from people in our community, and I've taken a lot away from this, so thank you so much.
I'm really glad. I'm glad. Thank you.
And listeners and watchers, thank you so much for spending the time with us today. And as always, happy
Happy
gaming.
Gaming.
Woo!